Hi guys, so let's walk on a journey to making a beautiful and a snatched inbuilt gown. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to watch this video to the end. And I mean your fashion, beauty and DIY channel. And here we'll be working with this pattern paper and I'll be marking out the vertical measurement which is 10 inches for my bust point and the under bust which is 13 inches, and I'll be marking my half length which is 15 and a half, and yours could be 17 or 18, and this is based on measurement. For the blouse length, I'll be marking out 21 inches, and you could use 22, 23 or 20 based on how long you want it to be. So I'll go ahead and make use of my ruler and mark out the horizontal lines. So I'll go ahead and label this the bust point, on the bust point, half length, and the full length. So we'll go ahead and take the shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5, and I'll be marking out the 7.5 inches. Now to take my shoulder slants, I'll be marking out 1 inches. So I'll go ahead and measure out 1 inches and mark it out. And we usually mark out this 1 inches for the shoulder slats because the shoulder is not straight. So I'll be marking out 3 inches for the neckline. I'll go ahead and make use of my ruler and connect this to form the shoulder slope since the shoulder is not straight. So now for my armhole, I'll be going down by 7.5 inches. If you don't know the measurement of your client, you can divide a bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, but my own armhole is 7.5 inches. So you go ahead and mark down the straight line. So in order to get a very perfect line, so whatever the 7.5 I measured there, I'll go ahead and measure it on this side. And this is just to help me to get that perfect straight line. So I go ahead and use the ruler and connect where I marked that 1 inch down to the armhole. So we'll go ahead and take the midpoint of this 7.5, which is 3.75, and I'll be going inward by half of an inch. You can go inward by 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. And going inward, this helps to make the fabric sit well on your armhole so it doesn't have to budge out. So I go ahead and connect this armhole line. So on the bust point, we'll go ahead and mark our nipple to nipple. My nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. I'll go ahead and mark this 4 on both the bust point, on the bust, and down to the half length. So I go ahead and use your ruler to connect this in a straight line. Now for the bust dart, I'll be going on this side. I'll be taking in 1.5 inch, and on the other side, I'll be taking in half inch. So going back to the under bust, I'll take the same thing, 1.5 inch on this side, and on this side I'll take half inch. So I'll connect it to straight line. And that's for this bust depends on the butt size, because if you're a plus size, you could take 2 inches. And down from this point, I'll be marking about 3/4 inch. And I'm marking this 3/4 inch to prevent this from pointing out, so it lays so flat on the bust. Now, based on how deep you want your neckline to be, for mine, I want mine to be about 6 inches. I'll mark out the 6 inches. So you go ahead and make use of your ruler to connect this line. So I'll be going over to the shoulder slope, and at this point, when I measured my tape rule, I have 4.5. I'll be taking the midpoint, and my midpoint here is 2.25. So you go ahead and make use of your ruler and connect the midpoint of the shoulder down to your nipple point. So this is what I have. So I'll be going over to take the bust dart, as this will help in the bust tightening. And for me, I'd go in by 3/4 of an inch on this side and 3/4 of an inch on this other side. You could make use of 1 inch, half inch, 1.5. This is based on the bust size. The bigger the size, the bigger the dart. So I take this to allow this to rest well. So now, based on how deep you want your neckline to be, for me, I want it to be as deep as 7.5. So I go ahead and give it that perfect sweetheart neckline. So Yeah. So after I'm done drawing this now, I'll be extending this line down to the full length. So I'll be measuring out the 4 inches which I marked out, and I'll go ahead and make use of my ruler and connect this line. So the 1.5 inch and the half inch which I also measured out, I'll be measuring it back 1.5 on this side and half inch on this side. I'll go ahead and connect with my ruler. So now I've extended this line. So the neckline, I want it to be 3 inches deep. So I'll go ahead and draw out the neckline. So now I'll go ahead and give it, so I want to extend it. So I want it to sit well. So I went out by 3/4 of an inch and I marked out my new shoulder slants because I want this to sit pretty well on the neck since it's going to be a collar. And now wide I want my queen Anne neck to be. I want it to be as wide as 2 inches. So I go ahead and connect from that neckline down to the 2 inches that you marked out. This is based on how wide you want it to be. So I don't just want it to stop there. I want it to extend down to my bust point. So based on where you want it to extend, I want mine to stop at the bust point, just 1/2 inch, about half inch below the bust point. So I go ahead and give it that shape I want it to be. And this is based on preference. So now I'm done with that. So we're going over to taking the horizontal measurement. But before we do that, we'll join our new neck armhole line, which marked out 1.5 inch for the dart. We'll have to replace the 1.5 inch on this side. If you've marked out 2 inches, you also be replacing 2 inches because this is up. This is to help not to be short of fabric because you've cut out 1.5 inches. So you have to replace whatever dart you've measured there. You have to replace it back on the armhole. So this is our new armhole, and so we'll not be making use of this armhole but the new armhole. So now you've done marking out the armhole, go ahead and take the horizontal measurement. My bust is 36 divided by 4, which is 9, plus the extra 1.5 inch for the dart. I'll be adding it back, so that makes it 10.5 inches. I'll mark it out. I'll go over to my half length. My waist is 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5, plus this 2 inch which I have taken for the dart. I'll mark out 7.5 on the 2 inches which I've measured for the dart. I'll add it back there, which makes it 9.5. So I'll go ahead to take my hip measurement here on the full length. My hip is 9.5 plus the 2 inches which I've removed from the dart. I'll add it back. So I go ahead and connect to give it my body shape. So I'll go ahead and draw out the body shape. Gently connect this down to the full length. Now I don't want my blouse to be straight. I want to give it this slanted effect. So I'll be going up by 1 inch. You could go up by 1.5 based on what you want. So I'll be giving it this shape. Now this is what we have. So now we've taken all the horizontal measure, but before we cut this pattern out, you would have to draft out this Queen Anne neckline because it is a Queen Anne with collar. So go ahead and get a new pattern paper and trace out the Queen Anne pattern which you've drafted out. You are just tracing out that Queen Anne pattern. You're tracing it out on this paper. You gently do this and you carefully draw it out. So you do this. So now at the side, you won't be taking the new armhole but still the old armhole because you are not cutting that side out or you are not creating any darts. So you just gently map out the old armhole. So this is what we have. So now you can go ahead and cut out your pattern paper. So now at this armhole, I don't want this to have this both side to have a sleeve. So I want to give it this sleeveless armhole. So I go ahead and mark out the sleeve, give it the sleeveless armhole. So I'll go ahead and cut out that pattern. You could make yours to have a sleeve. You can join it to your Queen Anne neck, but I want it to be like a tube. while I add that Queen Anne pattern to it. So after cutting, this is what the pattern looks like. As you can see, it is looking so beautiful. So we'll go over to the back drafting. I'll mark out 10 inches for the nipple point, and I'll mark it out 15.5 inches, and the full length, which is 21 inches. You don't need the underbutt for this, since this would not have a bustier. So you mark out your 7.5 inch for the shoulder, and you also mark out 1 inch for the shoulder slant, just as you have done in the front, and you mark out 3 inch for the neckline, and go ahead and connect with your ruler. The same way it came down by 7.5 for the armhole, you do the same thing for the back, and you draw your straight line to connect those lines together. And you also go ahead and for the back line, the neckline for the back, I want it to be one, since I want it to sit so well and have a collar. So for this side, you take the midpoint of your armhole. For mine, this is 3.75, and you go ahead and connect the armhole. So you draw the armhole. So this is what it looks like. So I'll be going ahead to take the horizontal measurement. My bust is 9 and my half length is 7.5. I'll mark out my 7.5 for my waist measurement, and I'll come down to my hip, which is 9.5. I'll go ahead and mark out the 9.5 inch. So you go ahead and connect these lines together and form your body shape. Now don't forget, for the back we added a slanted line. So just take the back piece which you've marked out and trace out that line. So this is what we have. Back to have an opening, so I'll be coming down by 7 inch wide. So I'll go ahead and mark out that line. So I use my ruler to mark out the line, and I want this to have a button, so I want it to come down as low as 1.5 inch. You could make yours 2 inch or ½ inch. So now for the loop side, I want to go inward by 2 inches. So by the time I open it, I'll be left with 4 inches gap. So this is where I'll be cutting now to get my loop. So now after I'm done, I want to give it a shape. So I'll be going in by 2.5 inches, and this is based on how wide you want it to be. So I'll go ahead and give it this kind of shape. So I'll go ahead and trim out the back pattern, which I've drafted out. So now we are done drafting the back. So we're going over to the Queen Anne pattern. So now I'll place the back which I have with the front, and you can see this is what it is looking like. You can see now I want the collar to be as wide as 1 inch. You could make yours 1.5, but I went ahead to use 1 inch. Now this is the 1 inch. So you go ahead and place that back pattern. You place it on the front. By the time you place it, you can see the back is more than it. So you go ahead and mark out that 1 inch which you've marked on the front. You mark it on the back and you trim it. So by the time you are done trimming, you're making sure the back pattern the neckline is, the shoulder is stopping exactly at that 1 inch which you've marked out, just as you can see. So now you go ahead. I went ahead to correct that slanted line so it could rest well. So you go ahead and make use of your tape rule to get the round measurement, as this will help you to get the collar. So I had 4 inches. I'll go ahead and mark out the 4 inches. So make sure your tape rule is not straight. It is a little bit slanted, as this will help you to sit pretty well on the neckline. So I mark out 4 inches. And you use your ruler and mark out that line. Make sure it is not a straight line, but a little slanted, as you can see the way I've drawn mine. So now for this side, don't forget I said based on how wide you want, I want mine to be as wide as 1 inch. So now I'll also go ahead and mark out that 4 inches which I have after measuring the neckline of the back. So I go ahead and mark out the 4 inches, making sure it's also slanted like the back. So I'll go ahead and check the 4 inches. You can see this is the 4 inches on this side, and this is the 4 inches also on this side. Go ahead and connect the line. Now we are done with this. We've marked out the collar. So we'll go ahead and trim it out. Making use of your scissors, you gently cut this, following the pattern which you've traced out. So now you are done cutting this, and this is what it looks like, as you can see. So this is how well it will be resting on your neckline. This is what it looks like, and we've come to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching this video to the end, and stay tuned as I'll be dropping the sewing tutorial on how to sew this inbuilt snatched gown. Love you all.